So, hello, good morning. We are going to be looking at conjunctions now, as many of you requested. So, I'm going to do this. So we'll be looking at, because my name remains Yapode Nwabuzi, and your teacher. So, in this lesson, we'll be discussing the English conjunctions. We'll discuss types of conjunctions. We'll look at the additive, adversative, correlative, coordinating, and subordinating conjunctions. I will discuss the functions of these conjunctions in structures and also use them in structures. So what are we expect to be able to do by the end of this lesson? We expect to be able to define conjunctions, identify types of conjunction, and also use them in structures. Now, conjunctions are connecting elements. So we have I mentioned that. I think that's in my previous video on coordination. So this lesson actually intends to introduce you to them and the type that exist in English. Then you should also be able to use them to form sentences or identify them in structures. As such, the focus of the lesson are to define conjunctions, to identify types. There are types which are additive, adversative, coordinating, and subordinating, and also the correlative, as well as be able to use them in structures. So let's start with a broad view and approach. So conjunctions are words that connect words, phrases, clauses, and sentences. As we go along, you will see the broader level of their operations. Then, so conjunctions are used to connect ideas, and the common examples of conjunctions are and, but. So these are the one we are mostly familiar with, but we'll also see other examples later. So let's look at these particular ones actually operating within a structure. So the man and his daughter visited the school yesterday. So you have the connection between the coordination between two noun phrases, the man and his daughter. Then you also have the boy was handsome, but his girlfriend is not so pretty. So here we have Bert introducing us to another part of the structure. So we have two clauses actually brought together here. Now these are common examples, like I said. So let's look at the common examples of the conjunction that we have. We have and, but, or, so, because, however, after, since, during, than, unless, that, while. So these are very common examples I'm sure that you always use in your words. So let's look at the types, how we can break them down into different types, and so that you can know when we are using them, we know actually what type that we're actually using. So we have the additive, we have the adversative, we have correlative, we have the coordinating, we have the subordinating. So let's look at the tabular representation of the conjunction. So now the coordinating ones, let's look at the coordinating. Then we have, what did we use it to do? To connect two or more grammatical elements of equal status. So we have examples like and, but, so, or, for, nor, yet, although, moreover, also. These actually have they connect when you have elements that seem to have equal status, so they bring them together. But we'll see a further division will show now that when it's additive, that means the coordinated elements come together and there's addition. So there's a adding to, there's increase. Maybe I'll put it on something like that. So let's do it like and, also, moreover, in addition, as well as. So this one's like they add and make the content or the semantic content of the structure to be like more. By adversative, it subtracts or minimizes the element connected to it in the coordination process. So, but, even though, if, however, in this case, so you can say something maybe positive, then you now become negative at the other side of the structure. Now you can say, okay, maybe this one is minimizing, say even though. So this kind of like, yes, this is good, but then despite this being good, but this other part means that there's a problem. or something like that. So you can also minimize, like you say, only. So these are also the possible element. You can have adversative. So it doesn't mean they're adversaries, but it means that it reduces the potency. So maybe that's the better way of putting it. Then subordinating. So in subordinating, you used to connect a subordinate clause, that's a dependent clause, to an independent clause, which is okay, maybe that's to a main clause. So maybe I should say to a main clause, so the dependent to be able to be actually in the bracket that is correlates with the dependent. So you say that subordinate a subordinate clause to a main clause, so which in bracket you have the dependent clause, that's subordinate, and then the dependent clause, which is the main clause. So you have examples like before, therefore, although, even though, though, because, when, whenever. We are going to discuss this further, so I think in that way we'll be able to give you how these are actually used. Then you have the correlative pairs of conjunction that work together to connect structures. So both and add, not only, but also, either or. So you have this they work like a team. So let me just say they are a kind of team, or what you call power couple. So that's the way this correlative conjunction works. So let's look at additive. So this type of conjunction that has information. So you have these examples of this sort of conjunction include and, also, moreover, and you can add more. No, they are used to create compound structures. So these are another important information that we need uh, to take note of. Of course, coordinating conjunctions create compound structures anyway, whether they are additive or they are whether they are additive or they are adversative. So let's look at the examples. We love to visit their house and stay with them for the holidays. They came to see my mother and I also spoke to her, to me. So in addition to coming to see my mother, they also spoke to me. He wanted to get married last year. Moreover, he started the school there. So he wanted to get married last year. So in addition to that, he started the school there. I'm recording. So then we also have he is my husband as well as being my friend. Then we have we love each other and plan to get married soon. So you can also see this other example. He's very tall. However, he loves playing football. So these are other examples that we can have. So this all in all these cases now you are having information being added and increase to the semantic content of the structure. Now when it is adversative, this removes from the information. They are used to express contrary information about information. Okay, they are used to express content information, and then they are also used to form compound structure. So again, like I said, it's not only additive that forms compound structure. So this one too does. Then let's see examples. He struggled very hard to win the race, but she still overtook him. So you see, this now is a kind of telling you that eventually he did not win the race. Even though he's good at what he does, he is not able to earn a good income. Yes, he's good, but then the income is not commensurate. So she's very kind-hearted. However, when you get on her nerves, she can be mean. So you are seeing this again. Yes, very kind-hearted, but then this subtracts to that kind-heartedness. Then your mother is beautiful, but I think she still needs to improve on her manners. Yes, she's very beautiful, but what about her manners? So let's look at correlative conjunction now. Correlative conjunctions join a structure of two equal status. Yes, they also work in specific circumstances. Yes, they work in pairs. So I said they are kind of power team. So let's show some examples. The correlation must be such that they could be for addition, negative, or further addition. So depending on exactly what you want to do. So we are going to see as we look at the example. So both ends. So these are examples of correlative conjunctions, not only but also, either or, neither nor, whether or. So let's see them used in structures. So as verbs, I would rather drive than walk. So in this case now, they kind of brought together the correlation of verbs. There are adjectives. The movie was not only funny, but also educational. So the correlation is between funny and educational. The adverb and noun. So the chair ran as fast as lightning. So as fast as, so then so the cheetah was one running, and then as lightning. So you see the correlation is between the running, that is the speed of the running, and then in the way it actually is presented. Then prepositional phrases, the letter was neither from me nor from her. So here, neither nor, so from me, from her. So that's what you are having the correlation between clauses. We haven't decided whether we go to the movies or we will go to the arcade. So you have so this again, you see that it is between the clauses that you are having the correlation. Let's see some other example that is taken from teacher's tribe. So correlative conjunctions join words or phrases of equal weight. So again, you can see this example, both end, both the office and the library. So again, you're having the MP correlation here. Then you have not only but also. So you're having Kim is not only kind but she's also smart. Then you're having either or. I can either bake cookies or buy a cake. Then you have neither nor. Mark is neither a singer or an actor. Then you have whether or. So you're having neither nor. Mark is neither a singer nor an actor. Then you have example of whether or again. Mail is delivered whether it rains or shows. So this show you the correlations between the particular elements that are being correlated. So let's look at coordinating. So this also brings together elements that seem to have meaning content that are of equal status. However, it is found that they are structurally considered equal because on the weight of the structures. Unlike coordination, so subordination, coordination actually conjoins. Conjunction are used to present insertion of comma after each simple sentence. So in that way you bring them together, and the meaning context could all be positive or negative, so nonetheless their intentions too. So you can see how we are trying to discuss them by breaking them down previously. So when you look at coordination, you are thinking of meaning of equal status. So this we have said before, and so there's element of weight that you need to consider when you're looking at. But like I said, they can either be also have, they can actually bring together negative constructions and correlates as we have. So all these are coordinations that you can have. So let's see them in terms of their how they operate within the structures. What do you call it now? The kind of types of word type that we are, as we are categories that we are looked at before. So in nouns, you have eagles and falcons are birds. So the connection in between two nouns. As verbs, you said she didn't know if she should stay or go. So or is connecting the two verbs. The adjective, the pepper is spicy yet sweet. So then you can also have them between adverbs, quickly and quietly. Then you have prepositional phrases, so you can get there by air or by sea. So you have again noun phrases, reading books and playing guitar are two of my hobbies. Then clauses, you have them do calling my sister likes the winter but I prefer the summer. So we have given this kind of examples before. So let's see more examples. So David likes teaching but his brother prefers business. Then Janet ate a loaf of bread and drank many cups of tea. So she works in an office and her husband in a school. So this is connecting two clauses in this case. Kaite is intelligent but playful. So you have an adversative that is actually connecting two adjectives here. So coordination is often concerned with subordination, but subordination involves the linking of units like coordination, but with subordination as one of the units is dependent on the other. So we will discuss more about subordinating conjunctions as we went along. But let's look at closer coordination. So we are breaking them down into the units of the sentence now. So there are three main coordinations that we have looked at, and we have actually broke them down as we went along. So you see Mary sings well and her brother plays the guitar. So these are clauses. The Mercy sings well, her brother, however, plays the guitar. Now, this kind of link was done with semicolon. So it tells you that even a semicolon can be used to coordinate. Then Mercy sings well, but her brother plays the piano. So we have tried to discuss this under advertising. Note that instead of using but, the sentence can be structured using although, though, or as. So although Mercy sings well, her brother plays the piano. So let's look at phrasal coordination. So and or are also the main connectors for phrasal coordination, but is used only to link adjectival clauses. I think this is actually why I fully explained in the other video about coordination. So let's look at an extremely long but very interesting letter. Speaking to him politely, firmly, coordination can occur in prepositional phrases. So the example is the thief ran down the street and into the bush. So you see now that down the street into the bush are brought together by the coordinator and. Then it can also be used for adverbials where you have adverbials and dependent clauses. As you can leave the load gradually or by using a truck. So these are so gradually is an adverb, and that by using a truck is actually a proportional phrase that is acting as an adverbial. And you can also link adjectives when they are predicated. So he's young and handsome. So here you're having coordinated adjectival complement to this structure. So you can also have subordination. So this involves ranking issue. As the name suggests, one clause is higher in rank than the other within the sentential structure. So I saw you have one clause being introduced by conjunction that diminish their rank and make them dependent on the independent clause to have their full meaning realization. So if you are not the tendency is for such clauses if you actually not if they are not uh, integrated with another structure. So what you have is that you have them becoming hanging sentences. So when you have a hanging sentence, it is because you have a subordinator which did not connect to a main clause in its full realization. So let's see such an example. When he arrived, so what happened? So that's the question you want to ask. So what happened? So it is natural to actually expect more after hearing this. However, you will notice that the problem is due to the element in bold, which so if you say he arrived, yes, that will make complete sense. But by the time you add when he arrived, then you expect more. So these are made the sentence to become an orphan that must find a parent for its mini completion. So let's try to save it from crashing, as we say in grammar. So when he arrived, he found his mother already sleeping. So in this way, yes, now your curiosity is satisfied and you can now identify the full meaning of the sentence. So its meaning is now complete. So it's no longer hanging, it's no longer an orphan, it has found its full expression by giving it a parent or a main clause. So examples of subordinate conjunction are when, if, however, although, even though, because. So all these are going to give us the examples of subordinated conjunction. So let's look at subordinators in sentences. These sort of conjunctions are used to create complex sentences. So let's take note of that. You will have learned from a discussion on types of sentences that the complex sentence is due to the presence of a subordinator as its operational conjunction. So in the same way, common complex sentences must also have at least one subordinated conjunction present in it. So let's look at some examples here now. The boy who came here yesterday is my brother. Whenever he comes home for the holidays, there must be some trouble. He loves her a lot. He loves her a lot because she is such a beautiful girl. This is the girl whom my mother helped in the market. If you move an inch, I will show you my true nature. Note, you would have noticed a pattern. Whenever the dependent clause comes as the first clause in the sentence, it is marked off by a comma. When it comes last, either in the sentence, it does not have that comma. So that you see the example 2, it has a comma. Then when you look at example 5, it also has the comma. So that's when you are having what we call preposed clauses. This makes it that you now are forced to put a comma to mark it off because it's staying in the position where it should not actually stay. So in summary, so in this lesson we have tried to cover quite a bit of ground on conjunctions. We discussed what conjunction is, we identified types of conjunctions, and we also showed you how to use them to construct your sentences. So you can um, you can look at some examples and then try and use them so that you can use them to practice. So these are things that you can use for further reading, so you can get hold of these materials and use them for your further reading. So